You don't need to overpower a woman to influence her. You don't need to impress her, chase her, or try to be someone you're not. What you need is to understand her at a level most men never reach. Let me ask you this. What if her real weaknesses weren't emotional outbursts, but subtle patterns hidden beneath her confidence? Because even the strongest, most high-value women have soft spots, blind spots, emotional triggers they'll never admit out loud, but they're always there. And when you approach her with stoic clarity, detached from outcome, centered in presence, she feels it. Not because you say the right thing, but because you see what other men miss. Today, you'll discover 9 psychological and emotional weaknesses women rarely reveal but deeply respond to. These aren't tricks, they're truths. And when you learn to read them, you gain something rare. Leverage without force, influence without control power, without ego. This is how Stoic men lead with awareness, not aggression. And this is what makes women chase surrender and connect not out of fear but out of fascination. So if you're ready to understand her deeper than surface-level attraction, let's begin with the first hidden weakness that even she might not know you're seeing. Number 1, craves emotional leadership. She longs for a man who can stay calm when she can't. Most men crumble. She doesn't always say it. She might even pretend she wants the opposite. But beneath every moment of chaos, every emotional spiral, every tear-filled silence or sudden burst of rage, she's not looking for someone to fix her. She's looking for someone who doesn't flinch. Because the truth most men never realize is this: her greatest weakness is emotional instability, and her deepest craving is your emotional stability, not your answers, not your advice, not your logic, your energy, the calm you bring when she's in pieces, the grounded stillness you hold when her feelings overflow, the silence that doesn't retreat, but anchors. When a woman spirals, she's not testing you just for drama. She's subconsciously asking, can you stay present in my storm? Will you still hold me even when I'm not easy to hold? Will you make me feel safe, not by stopping the chaos, but by standing still within it? Most men fail this test. They argue, they try to reason with her, they withdraw, become passive-aggressive, or worse, they explode back, because they're trying to win the moment. But the Stoic man doesn't need to win. He doesn't chase validation through emotional battles. He understands. The most powerful presence is the one that doesn't react. That's what she's addicted to. That's what softens her. When she yells and you listen without tension. When she breaks down and you breathe slow and still. When she pushes and you stay rooted, calm, quietly, unshaken. That's emotional leadership, not control, not dominance, but direction. Like a captain steering the ship, not by shouting at the storm, but by reading the waves, adjusting the sails, and staying on course. She might not thank you for it in the moment. She might accuse you of being cold or distant if she doesn't understand her own need for polarity. But something deeper is happening. She starts to feel safe. Not safe from problems, but safe in your presence. And that feeling rewires her attraction to you in ways she can't explain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's your superpower. You revise the storm by not fearing it. You make her feel protected, not by shielding her from pain, but by showing that pain doesn't control you. And when she sees that, she lets go, she softens, she leans in, because now she knows. No matter how loud the world gets, how chaotic her emotions become, you will not disappear. You are the stillness in her storm, and she will chase that stillness again and again, even if she doesn't know why. Number 2, needs to feel chosen without control. She wants to be pursued, not possessed, and most men overstep this line. There's a delicate thread inside every woman's heart. It pulls tight when she feels wanted and snaps the moment she feels owned. At first, she glows when you give her attention. She lights up when you call message lean in. She opens when she feels chosen, when she feels like you picked her not because you needed to, but because you could have had anything else, and you still chose her. But that thread weakens the moment your interest turns to obsession, the moment your curiosity turns into control, the moment your calm, grounded presence starts depending on how she responds. Most men make this mistake. They start off balanced, mysterious, magnetic, confident. Then they get attached and begin to grip too tightly. They text constantly. They want updates. They ask too many questions. They start needing reassurance that she still feels the same way. And slowly, the attraction fades because you crossed an invisible line from choosing her to trying to possess her. And women, especially powerful, high-value women, cannot stay emotionally open to a man who makes them feel trapped. You see, feminine energy is like water. It must flow. It needs space to move. The moment it's confined, it turns cold, still, unreachable. A Stoic man knows this. He understands that desire must have space, that the strongest love isn't forced, it's invited. He doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need constant proximity to feel secure, because he lives with one inner principle. If she stays, it's because she chooses to. If she leaves, it was never mine to hold. That mindset is freedom not just for you, but for her. Because when a woman feels she is free to leave, paradoxically, she becomes addicted to staying. You're not checking her phone. You're not interrogating her intentions. You're not demanding explanations for every silence. You let her breathe, and she can feel that. And that feeling, that freedom wrapped in masculine steadiness, pulls her back in. As Epictetus wrote, "He who is free is he who lives as he wishes, who is neither compelled nor hindered nor restrained." So what does that mean in practice? It means you call her because you want to, not because you're afraid not to. You compliment her without trying to earn anything. You enjoy her presence, but you're not addicted to it. And most importantly, you're willing to lose her to remain yourself. That's rare, that's powerful, that's Stoic, because the man who doesn't grip is the man she trusts, the one she runs to not because she must, but because it feels like freedom in his arms. And that feeling, she'll chase it, even when she doesn't understand why. Number 3, can't resist a man she can't fully read. Mystery disarms her logic and stirs her emotions. There's a reason women get bored with predictable men, a reason she pulls away when you reveal too much too soon, a reason her attraction burns bright at first, then fades the moment she feels she figured you out. Because while most men try to impress her with transparency, what she really craves is mystery. Not deception, not manipulation, but the kind of presence that makes her ask, who is this man? Really, what's he thinking when he's silent? Why can't I stop wondering about him, even after I've left? The truth is, she can't fall for a man she completely understands, because her logic doesn't trigger her desire. Her curiosity does. When she can predict your every move, you become a story she's already read, a map she's already walked, and attraction fades into familiarity and then into disinterest. But when you stay slightly out of reach, not in distance but in depth, you become a riddle her mind can't solve. And that riddle keeps her engaged. The Stoic man doesn't overshare to be liked. He reveals what matters but keeps his depth to himself, not because he's hiding, but because he knows his worth isn't in how loudly he speaks, but in the gravity of his presence. He's not aloof. He's intentional. Every glance, every word, every silence has weight. He listens more than he explains. He watches more than he reacts. And he only speaks when it matters. This creates a gap, and that gap pulls her in, because now she's not just hearing you, she's feeling you, reading between your words, projecting her fantasies onto the space you leave open. And that's where emotional obsession begins. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When she thinks of you and she doesn't have all the answers, her imagination starts doing the work. She begins to color in the mystery with her emotions. And when a woman's imagination and emotion are entangled, she's already yours, not because you chased her, not because you overshared, but because you gave her just enough to feel and not enough to stop wondering. Most men try to be known too quickly. They seek validation by overexposing themselves, by dumping emotions, past traumas, or desperate honesty in the hope of being seen. But being seen is not the same as being desired. Desire needs space. It needs tension. It needs the man who knows. You don't need to understand me to feel me. So don't rush to prove how deep, loyal, or different you are. Let your energy speak. Let your actions speak louder. Let your presence stay slightly undefined. Because she won't chase clarity. She'll chase the man who keeps her guessing, not with games, but with calm, powerful unpredictability, and that she won't be able to resist. Number 4, attracted to emotional risk, not safety. She's drawn to men who can walk away, not those who need her. You think being reliable will make her love you, that if you're always there, always saying yes, always ready to please, she'll finally see how safe you are and choose you. But you don't understand her nature, because while safety matters, it's not what awakens her desire. Desire lives in the edge, the unknown, the tension between I have him and I might lose him. That edge, that emotional risk is what keeps her pulse quick, her mind wandering, her body leaning in. When you're always available, she knows she has you. And once she knows she has you, fully predictably, no matter what her instinct isn't to hold you tighter. It's to test, to pull away, to look elsewhere for challenge. This isn't manipulation, it's biology. The feminine is drawn to strength, and nothing signals strength more than a man who can walk away with peace. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't need. That's the real difference. She wants to be desired. She does not want to be your oxygen. Most men mistake emotional availability for emotional neediness. They share too much, too fast. They overtext. They double down on affection, hoping it'll convince her to stay. But the Stoic man doesn't convince. He doesn't chase comfort from a woman's attention. He creates it within himself. His presence is a gift, not a request. His love is deep but not desperate, and most importantly, his identity is intact with or without her. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And what lies beyond your control? Her feelings, her attention, her choice to stay or leave. When you grip tighter, she pulls away. But when you release the need to hold her, she begins to cling to you. Why? Because she senses that you'll be okay without her, and that makes her want to be close. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's not distance, it's depth. You're not avoiding love, you're refusing addiction. You don't beg, you don't panic, you don't argue when she tests you or plays games. You just lean back. Let her come forward if she chooses. And if she doesn't, you remain whole. And that unshakable core, that refusal to collapse under emotional threat, is what makes her respect you, and eventually submit to the desire you create without trying. Because the man who can walk away calmly, cleanly, with peace is the man she never wants to walk away from. Number 5, responds deeply to subtle attention. Silent gestures often impact her more than grand words. You think she needs to hear more compliments, more reassurance, more I love yous whispered in repetition. And while words have power, they are not what reach her soul. Because the truth is, she feels most desired through what you do in silence. Not the things you announce, but the gestures so subtle they slip beneath her defenses. Like the way your eyes linger when she doesn't notice. the way you pull her in closer without a word, the way your energy softens around her while still staying grounded. She doesn't want performance, she wants presence. And that presence doesn't require a stage, it only requires depth. Most men try too hard. They flood her with validation, they overdo romantic gestures hoping to trigger emotion, but all she hears is noise, a performance that begs for applause. You want to stand out, do less, but mean it more. You notice the little shift in her tone, and you pause. You place your hand on her lower back when you lead her through a crowd. You look into her eyes fully when she speaks, not to reply, but to feel her. That kind of attention, it disarms her, because now, you're not just listening, you're reading between her words. You're not just being near, you're fully there. And when a man offers that kind of presence, she lets go of her mask. She melts, not because you overwhelmed her with affection, but because you met her in a space most men never reach, her emotional shadow, the quiet part of her that longs to be felt, not explained. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, but her soul becomes dyed with the color of your attention, your gaze, your restraint, your small, deliberate actions that say, 'I see you, not just your face, but your silence, your tension, your longing.' That changes her. Because subtle attention speaks the language of intuition. And that's the only language the feminine truly trusts. She doesn't want you to chase her like a fool. She wants you to notice her like a man who sees the whole woman, not just the surface, not just the body, not just the words. When you can slow down your energy, when you can offer precision instead of pressure, you shift her entire nervous system. She stops protecting, she starts opening, not because she decided to, but because her body told her she's safe. And that safety, it doesn't come from what you say, it comes from how you pay attention, not to impress, not to manipulate, but because you're the kind of man who sees things deeply and never needs to announce it. That's the power of subtlety, and she'll feel it long after the moment is gone. Number 6, struggles with consistency if you're over-available. Too much access kills her attraction. She needs distance to desire. You want her to feel secure, to know you care, so you make yourself constantly available, texting first, responding fast, always present, always ready. And at first, it works. She smiles. She leans in. She seems excited by your presence. But slowly, something shifts. Her responses grow shorter. Her interest fades. She becomes busy, distracted, indifferent. And you wonder what changed. The answer is simple, but most men miss it. Desire cannot survive without distance. And when you give her constant access, you kill the very space where attraction lives. She doesn't want to own you. She wants to earn you. She doesn't want your time on demand. She wants your time to mean something. And when you're always there, when she knows every time she reaches, you'll say yes, she stops reaching altogether. That doesn't mean you disappear. It means you create contrast, presence and absence, engagement and withdrawal. Not games, but gravity. Because your energy must be precious, not free-flowing like tap water. It should feel like a rare current, not an always-on faucet. The Stoic man understands this. He's not emotionally unavailable. He's emotionally sovereign. He shows up when it matters, but he never overexposes himself just to feel needed. His presence is valuable because it's grounded. His time is sacred because it's chosen. And his absence is felt not as punishment, but as magnetism. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." So be one. A good man doesn't mean a constantly accessible man. It means a man who's in alignment with his purpose, with his schedule, with his own inner compass. When you're building something real, you don't drop it every time a message lights up your phone. When you're growing, you don't pause your evolution just to reassure her. She wants to wonder about you. to miss you, to feel your absence and desire your return. That's not cruelty, that's chemistry. Because when you disappear into your world, not as punishment, but as devotion to your path, she's reminded of why she wanted you in the first place. You're not a boy orbiting her emotions. You're a man with gravity, a center of discipline, mystery, and purpose. And when you return, not needy, not apologetic, but present and composed, her attraction ignites again, because it's the contrast that sparks her feminine core, the space between your presence and your absence, the moment when you lean back and she leans in. But if you never pull away, she never gets the chance to reach. So stop being available just to feel worthy. Let her miss you, let her wonder, because the man she desires most is the one she can't always have. Number 7. Becomes addicted to the feeling of earning you. Effort creates attachment. Giving too easily breaks the spell. Most men think love is given. They believe that if they show how good they are, how kind, attentive, devoted, she will reward them with affection. But what they miss is this: she doesn't fall for the man who gives himself away. She falls for the man she feels she must earn. This isn't about playing hard to get. This is about biological wiring. Women, especially feminine, emotionally intelligent women, don't bond deeply through comfort. They bond through investment. It's the effort she puts in, the energy she risks, the emotion she pours. That makes her attach. And when you remove that process, when you make it too easy, too fast, too predictable, you rob her of the very pathway that creates depth. Because no woman values what she didn't have to reach for. The Stoic man knows this. He doesn't play games, but he knows his worth. He understands that his energy is sacred and not handed over for free. He lets her contribute. He lets her pursue. He lets her initiate sometimes more than he does. Not to manipulate, but to create balance, because she doesn't want to be a passive receiver. She wants to feel chosen by herself, like she won your attention, like she deserves your presence. And the moment she starts earning it, something powerful begins to shift. She invests, she gives, she attaches, because in her mind you are no longer a prize waiting to be claimed. You are a standard she must rise to meet. Epictetus taught, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. If you know who you are, you don't rush to be accepted. You allow her to align with your depth. That's what ignites her feminine core. Not just a man who gives love, but a man who requires her to show up to receive it. And it's not about tests or coldness. It's about standards. Do you fold the second she shows interest? Do you cancel your plans just because she asked? Do you flood her with validation before she's even earned your trust? Then don't be surprised when she fades, because she never had to choose you. You chose for her. But when she puts in effort, when she texts, first opens up, leans in, and you meet her halfway, not rushing, not retreating, just steady, that's when she spirals deeper, because her brain starts connecting the dots. I'm investing, and I like how it feels, so he must be worth it. You didn't manipulate her. You simply allowed her to do the work love requires. And now she's not just into you. She's attached to the process that brought her to you. And the more she gives, the more she desires to keep what she's earned. Not because you asked her to, but because you were strong enough not to give yourself away too fast. Number 8. Tests boundaries to feel safe, not to push you away. Most men fail the test by overreacting or folding. It starts small, a sarcastic remark, a little jab in public, a random delay in texting back, just to see how you react. And most men take the bait. They get angry, they get needy, they argue, explain, or worse, they try harder to win her back in that moment. But here's what they don't understand. She's not trying to hurt you, she's trying to find your edges. Because while her words may poke, her heart is asking, are you solid? Can I trust you when I lose myself? Will you bend to please me, or stand in your truth? She's not craving punishment, she's craving structure. And if you fail to give it, if you let her push and pull your energy at will, if you shrink or snap every time she tests your boundaries, she can't respect you, because no matter how beautiful she is, no matter how emotionally charged she gets deep down, she wants to feel contained, not controlled. Contained. There's a difference. Control is fear based on need to micromanage her emotions. Containment is love with structure, an unspoken message that says, you are safe to be wild, but your chaos won't unseat my calm. I hear you, I see you, but I won't abandon my standards for you. That's what makes her trust you. That's what makes her submit emotionally, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. The Stoic man doesn't get rattled by her storms. He doesn't collapse when tested. He sees her intensity and meets it with stillness. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Her mood is not your responsibility. Your response is. So when she raises her voice, you lower yours. When she pulls away, you give her space, not chase. And when she crosses a line, you name it. Once, calmly, then you let your actions speak, not to punish, but to anchor. Because every time you fold to keep her close, you teach her that you're not trustworthy, that your peace depends on her approval. But when you hold your boundary with grace, you become the one thing she can't manipulate. A man who honors himself, and that makes her feel safe in ways no soft words ever could, because now she knows. No matter what chaos she brings, you will not lose yourself. And in a world full of reactive boys, that quiet strength makes you unforgettable. She'll test less, she'll lean more, and she'll start giving you something most men never receive, her full trust, not because you demanded it, but because you proved in the face of her fire you never burned. Number 9, falls for presents, not promises. She doesn't trust your words. She trusts how you make her feel now. You can say all the right things. You can promise her the world. You can talk about loyalty, commitment plans, and forever. But none of it matters if she doesn't feel you, not just hear you, feel you, in the moment, right now, in your eyes, in your stillness, in the way your energy touches her nervous system without a single word. Because here's what most men never grasp. The feminine doesn't fall for what you say. She falls for how she feels in your presence. You can whisper, I love you, every hour. But if you're anxious, needy, distracted, insecure, she won't believe a word. You can tell her you'll protect her, but if you can't protect your own emotional state in conflict, she won't feel safe. You can describe your big dreams, talk about how you're different, promise you'd never hurt her. But if your presence is hollow, if your body is there, but your spirit isn't grounded, if your touch is there, but your gaze is absent, she'll feel it. And once she feels a man's energy is scattered, weak, or disconnected, her attraction starts to die. Because for her, attraction is not logical, it's somatic. It happens in her body, not her mind. And her body can sense the truth. But here's the good news. You don't need fancy lines. You don't need grand promises. You don't need to convince her of anything. You just need to be fully present right here, right now. When she speaks, you hear her. When she touches you, you respond with depth, not distraction. When she looks at you, she feels a man who is rooted, not floating, not pleasing, present. That presence is everything. It's the medicine she didn't know she needed. It's the safety that awakens her softness. It's the grounding that pulls her out of her own head and into yours. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So ask yourself, who do you choose to be in every moment with her? A man of noise, or depth, a man of promises, or presence? The Stoic man chooses presence because he knows that energy is more honest than words. He knows that what she remembers most isn't what he said, but what she felt in his silence. And once she feels that kind of presence, she'll chase it, crave it, return to it, not because you made her, but because her body told her, this is home. And home has no script, only presence. You've just seen what most men will never see. Not because it's hidden, but because they never slow down long enough to notice. They chase her smile, her beauty, her attention, but they miss her weaknesses. The soft places she guards behind armor, the emotional gaps she won't put into words, the primal longings that only the rarest men ever reach. And now you're that man, not because you've learned tricks, but because you've started to understand the truth beneath her desire, that she doesn't want a boy who proves himself. She wants a man who knows himself, that she doesn't want to be impressed. She wants to be felt, held emotionally, spiritually, without noise. All 9 weaknesses point to one thing. She is pulled irresistibly to the man who does not need her, yet chooses her with quiet power, to the man who can hold her chaos without losing his stillness, to the man who never tries to control her, but makes her feel safest when he controls himself. That's not seduction, that's not strategy, that's Stoic masculinity in its purest form. And here's the final truth. You don't need to chase women. You need to become the man they chase in silence, the man they think about late at night, the man they compare others to, the man they can't fully explain but can't let go of, because he made them feel something they didn't even know they needed. If that's the path you want to walk, not just to attract her, but to become unshakable as a man, then stay with us. This isn't about popularity, it's about power, quiet, disciplined, earned. And if you're ready for the next step, we'll be right here, one insight at a time, one lesson deeper, one part closer to the man you were born to become. Follow now, not for content, but for transformation, because this isn't just a video. It's the mirror she wishes you'd finally look into.